Welcome into From the Nosebleeds, episode 144.
How do you know that every time?
I take some notes before the podcast, and I go on Instagram, and I look at our last graphic, and I say, okay, that was episode 143, so tonight is 144.
I respect it.
Vince Lobiando here with Seamus Doyle. Ty, I'm back in the building, obviously.
Thank God.
Which is great, because I feel like...
we've missed you.
I've missed you, too. I'm just happy to be here, because I really want to articulate the points I'm going to make on this podcast.
Well, it's a lot easier doing it in person rather than via satellite.
It's also gonna be an interesting episode here.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Everything's going well.
Breaking news: if you've been living under a rock for the last month and a half, the Eagles suck.
Yeah.
The Eagles flat out stink. I just want to jump right into it, honestly, because I've been waiting for this podcast because we got a lot to talk about.
For all your life, you've been waiting for this.
So first and foremost, the most recent thing we can talk about, because I feel like we were here last week, so we talked about that horrible loss to the Cardinals.
Yeah.
If that wasn't bad enough, the Eagles come out and the starters play, minus A.J. Brown catches one ball, fumbles it, and then
and then retires in disgrace.
Obliterates his knee. It wasn't an ACL, but it still doesn't mean he's going to play this week. We won't know.
By the way, I like how the immediate reaction of literally everyone was like, ACL.
I thought it was ACL, too, because of the way he was holding his knee. But, I mean, is it okay to say this? Like, yeah, he got hurt, but, like, all the shit A.J. Brown was talking, and then the first catch he has, he fumbles the ball. He fumbles.
Well, dude, when you think about it, how perfect is that? Because I mentioned last week that when A.J. decided to speak to the media, everyone was like, "Well, we're back. Season's back on track." It's like, first of all, no, that's dumb. You're dumb, and second of all, that happens right away in that game.
Well. I
never heard anyone apologize for saying, "Oh yeah, this season's definitely back on track."
Let's just admit it. Like, that was bullshit. Like, it was bullshit. Like, it was cool at the time because we all wanted to believe, but like, it was a lie. They do not believe in the coaches.
Complete lie.
After the game, A.J. Brown, I'm pretty sure it was him, had a quote that said, "We just got to start believing in the coaches." Guys, the regular season is over. We're going to the playoffs. What the fuck do you mean we just got to start believing in the coaching? It's too late. It's too late. It's done.
I don't believe in the coaching, and I'm not even fucking playing.
Right. Yeah, we're not even in the building.
I think that all just goes to show that I'm not saying that they were like, AJ, you have to say this, but like, it was clearly.
It sure seemed like that could have been the case.
It wasn't real. They don't believe in the coaching, and that quote was not indicative of how the locker room felt, because they clearly feel another way. I mean, one of my first notes here is just quotes that have come out over the last couple weeks. If you guys remember,
boy, do we have like 3 hours for this?
No, but like, if you guys remember not a couple weeks ago, I think it was after the Niners blowout, Fletcher Cox had a comment where he said, "We're going to find out now who's really down," or whatever. And everyone was like, what is he kind of insinuating that some people aren't committed?
Right.
And that floated in the air for about 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, the Eagles lose again, and Jalen Hurts comes out and says that they need to work on commitment. Again, insinuating that the team has a commitment issue. And now we're at the point where clearly they don't believe in the coaches. You got A.J. Brown saying we have to start believing after the regular season. Like, what are we doing
Dude,
here?
It's a disaster.
You have guys, I forget who said this quote. I want to credit it to someone, but I'm pretty sure I read this. Maybe I got duped, but like, someone, I forget who it was, either Fletch or BG, maybe like, we don't have to be best friends. We just have to work together. Like, that's the vibe.
That's a bad vibe,
That's
dude.
the vibe of the locker room right now. And
there are two people to blame for that mainly, and that's Nick and Jalen, but we'll get into that.
Like, okay, so to talk about Jalen first and foremost, like, obviously, he has that cool, calm, and collected demeanor, and that is what it is.
Is that what that is?
Also, Saban retired, so that's news. But I was going to say he learned from Saban.
That's just what Jalen Hurts needs for his personality to come back, is more time with Nick Saban.
No, but it's just like you had that report come out a couple weeks ago that sources inside the Eagles were saying that they were concerned that he was too reserved and he wasn't a vocal enough leader.
I believe that.
And I feel like people just, like, don't get me wrong, like, in some instances, fuck the media and they can exaggerate or make things up or get false reports. But, like, sometimes they just are right. And, like, obviously I'm not saying they're right in the sense we don't know if people inside the Eagles are legitimately concerned about that, but like, from the outside looking in, it's something that seems concerning. We've been
it looks like that's exactly that's what we've all been insinuating.
I've been talking about on this podcast for months how I don't love that Jalen just sits there on the sideline.
Yeah, we've all been critical of him.
And I know it's become like a meme, but like, I am so fucking sick of the Instagram captions and the the press conferences.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing about that.
We just have to ride the wave. We don't want to get too high. Just fucking say just don't even talk then, man. I can't listen to it.
Yo, listen to this. The quote that he made after the loss last week in New York. I read it and I thought somebody was like just making fun of Jalen Hurts, like, because line after line was cliche. I mean, there was not one original thought in like a paragraph. So I actually, when I read the quote, I was like, oh, somebody's just making this up.
Right.
There's no way he said all of this.
And while we're on the topic of quotes, I want to
It's just annoying, especially when you're losing.
Ty's got a quote ready for us from Dallas Goedert after the game. Most people definitely heard this.
Where did he go to college, by the way? Because there's no way.
Where did Dallas Goedert go to college?
South Dakota State.
Well, this isn't a ringing endorsement of that school.
Well, I feel like we are going to have some disagreements about this quote, so let's let it play and talk about it after.
All right.
Better than we ended it, but we had a long season last year, and I just know everybody in this locker room is ready to go to work for the playoffs, and ever since 4 or 5 weeks ago when we clinched the playoffs, I think everybody's just been waiting for the playoffs. So not something that is a great thing, but I think everybody's going to be ready to go, and I think we're going to show the world what we're capable of.
Okay, so the main takeaway from that quote was the part where he said, ever since we clinched the playoffs, we've basically been waiting for the playoffs, insinuating the team has been coasting. I think we're going to have a little disagreement here. I want to hear your guys' point of view first, because you make up one side.
I don't hate the quote, but I just don't think it was a smart thing to say. I wouldn't have said that. I don't know.
2 syllables, 1 word. Dumbass.
Yeah.
Why the fuck would you insinuate that this team has been coasting? First off, the eye don't lie. All right? The team has sucked. Absolutely sucked. From the top on down, from the coaches to the players, everyone has sucked. Nobody's coasting shit. All right? I don't want... now I'm pissed off.
Yeah, fire me up, dude.
Now I'm pissed off. Nobody wants to hear that bullshit about how everybody's been freaking coasting since you got the playoff berth 5 weeks ago. Because guess what? If you were really serious about the freaking playoffs, you would have been fighting for that number 1 seed.
Hey,
you would have been fighting for the freaking division.
And
but now you're in a damn 5th seed.
It's embarrassing.
Surviving. I don't want to hear that coasting shit.
What was this team at one point?
10-1.
10-1. How?
I think the second team of all time to have this kind of collapse.
Dude, it's ridiculous.
Also, I would just like to poke a little bit of fun at the fact that preseason numbers for gambling, the Eagles over/under win total was 11.
Oh boy. Oh man.
11.5. I mean, could you imagine being a fan who like put the house on the Eagles to win over 11.5 games? You get to 10-1 and you're like, well, this is obvious now, and then that bet doesn't cash.
And I'm sure there's a lot of people in that situation.
That's terrible.
What was your take on the Goddard?
Okay, so I hadn't really thought of Ty's point of view there, because you're right. The team, it's not coasting. They've just sucked. The only reason I appreciated the quote, I guess, was because it was a real answer and not an Instagram caption.
Which is, is that
with this team, I'm so used to Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts feeding me nothing but bullshit. Yeah. So I guess someone giving a realish answer, that's why people like the AJ Brown thing too. Right, but and I don't know, man. I do agree with what Ty just said though. This team they were not coasting. They've just become bad. Like,
they're bad. They're a bad football team.
The game, specifically the Giants game, I was in the camp that I wanted them to rest the starters no matter what, because I was in the camp that I believed the Cowboys were not losing to the fucking Commanders. I didn't believe that for a second. So I wanted the starters to rest because of 2 reasons, and both of these things literally happened in the game. One, so that people don't get hurt. AJ Brown hurt on his first catch. And the other reason was another thing that happened in this game, and that's because you can't risk playing your starters and them playing like shit to make the vibes even worse.
I know, and
that's why were.
Yep.
And both of those things came to fruition.
Yeah.
The Cowboys won anyway. Your starters played about a half, looked like fucking shit,
horrendous,
and your best offensive weapon got injured. And
that's one of the reasons. One of the reasons why I wanted the starters to start that game is because, yes, you have an outside shot at the division, because let's face it, we've seen the Cowboys choke.
Right.
I mean, time and time again.
I mean, yeah, they literally lost a game they needed to win last year at the end of the year.
So, I mean, was it likely that the Commanders were going to beat them? No. I mean, no, obviously not, but still, it's the Cowboys. So I say start them and scoreboard. And it was close for a little bit, too. that Cowboys game. I think it was like 10-3 for like a
in the
good
beginning
half.
it was close.
So I mean, like I thought it was a good idea to start the starters. The problem is the starters shit the bed.
I mean,
like, and that's another thing I wanted out of this. Like, all right, dude, who cares about what happened? I actually was starting to talk myself into that. Who cares what happened like last week, the week before, the week before, the week before, the week before? Who cares? Let's go out there. Let's get some confidence back. Let's fucking destroy Tommy DeVito and Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and that they couldn't do that. It's just bizarre.
I want you just brought up the quarterbacks of the other team, and first and foremost, we should talk about the defense of this Eagles team.
It's really bad.
I mentioned
what
defense. I mentioned last week how much of a mistake I believe it was, the whole Matt Patricia Sean Desai thing, because it left them in a position where they couldn't fire anybody. And like I've never seen anything like this. The defense went from below average and inconsistent under Desai to the worst defense in the whole league by a mile under Matt Patricia. What the Honestly,
I don't think it's a coordinator.
I think there's two things we need to be wondering. One, just how bad of a coordinator is Matt Patricia, or B, or two. I think I said one.
It doesn't matter.
Two. Should we be giving props to Sean Desai for making this defense like look not that bad for the first half of the year?
No, we shouldn't. But that's where we're at.
Let's be legitimate though. But the defense when Sean Desai was in charge was not great, but they were like not that bad.
They weren't this.
They were very inconsistent, but they weren't like horrible. He gets demoted in like embarrassing fashion, way. And they are now the worst unit in the league. Like Sean Desai might be the best defensive coordinator in the NFL.
Yeah, but I think the most likely
he made this dog
here,
shit defense look good.
Yeah, but I think the most likely like result is like conclusion to draw from this situation is it's not a coordinator issue. It's a personnel issue.
Well, I want to say
because I honestly don't believe Matt Patricia is like the worst defensive coordinator in the world.
Yes,
I mean, Super
Bowl.
Bowl.
Yes, the fuck he is.
I mean, I don't think he is, but and I think he's
both.
And by the way, I think he's remaining there so Bill Belichick can come in next year. And
while we're talking
like, with him.
While we're mentioning coaching, like it's also worth bringing up the fact that Hassan Reddick has been, and Josh Sweat also, like sometimes they've been dropped back into coverage a lot.
Yes,
and you had, I forget what game was before, either the Cardinals or the Giants game, where Hassan Reddick said something about how he is not going to be getting dropped back.
Yeah, it was the Cardinals game.
He said, I'm not going to get dropped back into coverage, like he doesn't want to. And then I'm pretty sure the first play of that game, he was dropped back into coverage, and he's been dropped back into coverage a lot. And people are wondering, like, it's either one of two things here. One, the coaches are just literal idiots and dropping him back, or two, they are vindictive and petty, and because he said that, they're like, all right, we're gonna fucking drop you back then if you're gonna say that shit.
I mean, so either way is a disaster.
It's
right?
a lose-lose.
Yeah, it's a lose-lose.
But you either have petty coaches or incompetent coaches,
right? And we might have a combination.
Maybe both.
We might have a combination here.
I hope it's incompetent coaches, because if you're petty, fuck you. We don't have time for
petty right now.
I mean, I think they're probably both are probably true.
So
but either way, it's a disaster.
So that's defense. I mean, there's just nothing to talk about there. I mean, you get Slay back next week, but like,
great.
Who cares?
Let's
and
go
like
to Vegas.
I'm a staunch defender.
Hey guys,
of Slay.
big play Slay's back. Let's book our tickets to Vegas.
And you know I'm a defender of Slay, but I just don't see him making much of a difference.
He's fun. He's like Garrett Stubbs.
Also on the defense, that's funny. Also on the defense, this was a report that was floated by Baldy, and then I heard today on WIP, Howard Eskin said that he confirmed this with sources inside the team.
I mean, you know.
That report about Jordan Davis being overweight and being fined by the team every week. Howard Eskin said on WIP today that he has sources that confirm that inside the team.
I don't trust Howard. But
whatever. You know. But like,
I love you, Howard.
The fact that this is a talking point is a fucking another disaster on this defense. And like, I'm not giving up on Jordan Davis or anything. Obviously, he's so young and he's in his second year in the NFL, but like, it does hurt that a lot of this city, and
we talked about the Baldy quote last week, and I 100% believe that.
A lot of the city, and I've said this last week too, a lot of the city wanted Kyle Hamilton, and the fact that he's a fucking all-pro safety in his second year at a position the Eagles, frankly, desperately need.
I just hate looking back.
No, it's hindsight. I get it,
especially
but like,
for the draft.
It's a lot of people wanted him in the moment.
It hurts.
It's one of those things where hindsight, but also like there were a lot of people that said we needed that guy then.
That hurts.
So to watch Jordan Davis potentially come in overweight and being fined every week, and it shows in the field because he's been a ghost.
Yeah,
and it also like. It's not just him. Jalen Carter, first half of the season, monster. Second half of the season, where's he been? Nowhere to be found.
I
And
know.
again, another guy that I'm not piling on because he's a rookie and like I'm not giving up on him or anything. I'm simply saying that he had a great first half of the year, and the second half of the year he's kind of been non-existent.
Yeah, I mean, he's been
and that
bad.
could be for a multitude of
You know what
factors.
the
I'm
number
not
one excuse is, right? He's not used to this quality opponent and for this long.
right.
And it's part of the whole adjustment to the NFL thing.
Exactly, and it doesn't help that our
And
our
ideally,
passing game is so weak.
Yeah, I mean, ideally he'd be playing like with no issues.
But I mean, dude, I know we talked about this all last week, but like James Conner made the
know.
fucking run defense look like Washington against Michigan in
I
the
know.
national championship
I know.
game. It was Bush League.
it was horrible.
Even Saquon is amazing, and
Yeah.
you know, but like he was just little bullying us.
I know. It was a nightmare.
It's a tragedy. That
Dude, there was a
defense is
receiver. I was like,
tragedy.
who the hell? I've never even heard of this guy. He caught 2 touchdown passes.
Tyrod Taylor was picking us apart.
Oh my-
In the year of our Lord 2024,
That's just
Tyrod
amazing.
Taylor.
It's amazing.
Tyrod Taylor was surgically picking apart the Eagles defense like he was Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Every fucking quarterback we play just becomes Brady because all you
think
gotta
that guy,
do is
like-
get the ball out quick.
You think that guy like went home and just got hammered and celebrated?
Tyrod Taylor?
Yeah,
Probably.
I mean, he just annihilated like the Eagles.
Embarrassed us.
In an
Like, it's-
embarrassing way. That might be the best performance of
Dude,
his
like,
life.
Have you ever been this embarrassed to be an Eagles fan?
No.
Like this is the lowest point I've ever been at with this team, I think.
Give me a sec to nerdify this podcast real quick because you know,
Go for it.
Of course, I'm going to come in with tape, and I've said this plenty of times
Yes,
over
sir.
the years, and not just this year. We play too fucking soft. You don't play your corners 7
have
to
been
10
saying that
yards
forever.
off the freaking ball. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. And if all the money is in your defensive line, and you want your defensive line to put pressure on the opposing quarterback, your defensive line can't put pressure on the quarterback if the ball's coming out of the quarterback's hand in less than 2 seconds.
And exactly.
Why? Because the goddamn corners are so off.
And
Yep.
if you're dropping your fucking best pass rusher into coverage.
Yes.
Like there's no like, which, okay, I want to wrap this all in a bow because there's more on coaching.
And a bow. They don't deserve a bow.
No, they don't. They deserve, I don't even know.
They deserve my foot in their ass.
Yeah,
That's what they deserve.
They deserve an airplane
It
crash
all
right
comes
into
back
that present.
to the big man, Nick Sirianni.
Santa?
Because at the end of the day, like,
That is the opposite of Santa.
he's the head coach, but
Scrooge.
he's the head coach. He's an offensive coordinator that calls his plays. Obviously, very poorly because we all hate Brian Johnson. He's getting, which by the way, very funny and very ironic that the Carolina Panthers are like. They are like someone said that they're probably just interviewing him like just to start interviewing people, but like. The Panthers are such a poorly run joke of an organization that I could very well see them hiring.
Wait a
him.
minute.
He's the head coach.
What is wrong with you? Don't disrespect the Panthers like the great Panthers franchise. What the hell is wrong?
Yeah, right.
Let me tell you
He was
something
a
right
great
now.
I can't believe
Dave-
they're stealing Brian
Dave
from us.
Tepper. I think that's his name. That's
Yeah,
his
it's
name.
David Tepper.
Let me
Yeah.
tell you something.
He's very
All right?
smart.
You will get one of the best quality coaches that you will ever get in Brian Johnson.
All time.
All right. Fuck what everybody says
Yes,
about him
exactly.
over the course of this season. It is all on the players. It is execution. They should have executed better on those 2 quarterback draws and that goddamn wide receiver screen. All right. Please.
Take him.
It's a damn shame to lose Brian, man.
Take
You
him.
hate to lose a guy
You
like
are
that.
getting a quality coach.
Ah,
but like,
yeah,
so you have
he's
an
amazing.
offensive coordinator that
We
calls
all
the
love him.
plays very poorly, and you have a defensive coordinator who like. I don't even know. You have 2 defensive coordinators who both are not good, I guess. But like, so then in the middle of it, you have Nick Sirianni. Nick
Yeah.
Sirianni has in his time here. He's not a play caller. He's not like an offensive guru.
He's more of a poet.
Right. No, but he has established himself from day one as like the leader of men type coach, a vibes guy.
Yeah.
Which begs the question, what the fuck is his actual job right now? Because
Cheerleader.
so the offense sucks, the defense sucks, and the vibes are in hell.
Yes.
The vibes
what are you
are
doing?
so bad that they are in hell.
Yeah.
So Nick, what is your job right now? What are you actually doing? Because you're not calling the offense, you're not calling the defense, and you're not cultivating a good locker room because the locker room is fucked right now.
Well, and you mentioned cultivation. Nick knows more about that than he does about running a goddamn football team.
Okay, so I was in camp. Don't fire Nick
Yeah.
before that Giants game.
Everyone was.
I
Well,
walked
not
away
everyone.
from that first half of that Giants game saying fire him.
He saw
And
the light.
I think that I'm at the point now where this will be my final take going into this week. With
I
this.
love this era. I love this Vince era of hatred of Nick
So,
Sirianni. I'm so thrilled.
This is where I'm at right now. And listen, before I say this, everybody is like, oh, you can't be a franchise and make a call off one game. They got to have their mind made up now. I'm not the franchise, so I can
You're
say
pretty
this.
close.
I can say this. I think that my opinion of Nick Sirianni being fired or not will ride on this game. If he loses, he deserves to be fired. If he wins, fine, let him stay for another year and see what happens.
I totally agree.
Really pops out and it grows.
There he goes. Yeah, one of the many clever lines.
Like this game, the reason why I was like so much like fire him is not even because of the score, but like it is indicative. But like,
yeah,
the team quit. They quit on him.
They quit on the head coach.
They absolutely, without a fraction of a doubt, A.J. Brown can get in front of as many cameras with as many mics in his face and say as many cliches as he wants about,
We're not
we all believe that it's got to be the players. No, you guys don't.
No.
You guys have quit on the coach. And listen, you can say, like I said last week, that would be unfair and that would be a little bit like
premature,
maybe reactionary, but it doesn't change the fact that reality is reality. And at the end of the day, you can't overhaul a 53-man roster as quickly as you can fire one coach.
Yeah, and that's what's going to happen. They're going to lose to Tampa, and he's gone.
And that's
because that's what Jeffrey Lurie wants. Jeffrey Lurie's not going to put up with this. He doesn't put up with stuff like this for very long.
Well, while we're talking about coaching, I know that there is another quote that Ty's got. This one is from Javon Hargrave over on the Niners. You know, former Eagle, was here last year.
Yep.
Definitely missing him. So let's hear what he has to say about this team.
It's kind of similar because I think we all was very close. Like even in Philly, it's very close. Like everybody was pretty tight. But I can say it's like extremely harder. Like practices, like even like
here,
it's more. Yeah, here.
Yeah.
Very more demanding.
Yeah, we.
I think it's like more so like how people call like the Golden State coach and the Miami Heat. Yeah. Over here is the Miami Heat. Over there is the Golden State because it's more chill, more relaxed. You know, you chilling. Over here, nah, it's work. Yeah.
So there you have Javon Hargrave saying that since he's been with the Niners, they've been pushed harder in practice, done more. It's just been harder in general than it was in the Eagles.
Belichick's available.
And yeah, man, that like you hear a lot about the practices aren't as long and he's trying to negate injury, but like at the same point,
doesn't work, dude.
It's not. Yeah,
it doesn't work.
It's not working.
With regards to injuries, Jalen Hurts was healthy this year. I mean, it wouldn't have mattered. I don't think, but whatever.
You know what's gonna happen, right?
But I mean, you've had injuries regardless.
Seamus,
you know what I mean? Like, I think that's all bullshit.
When they inevitably lose next week, we are gonna get a slew of Hurts was playing with this and playing with that.
And you know what? They are the worst kinds of fans.
It's gonna happen.
I don't call them fans.
No, I guarantee you the team.
They're weirdos.
The team is going to say something that he was playing with a hurt knee or something.
Yeah, but guess what? It's going to be believed by a bunch of fans.
Which, by the way, speaking of that, how funny is it?
There's always an excuse.
When Marcus Mariota came in, first of all, funny-ass irony that the first pass he throws is a busted screen for an interception. Hilarious. But, it is jarring watching Jalen Hurts run the football and then watching Marcus Mariota, who is older.
It's bad.
Marcus Mariota looks like fucking Tyreek Hill compared to Jalen Hurts. Jalen is slow.
Two things. First off, why the fuck would you throw a screen when they're pressing? That's
because because it's bad coaching.
That's stupid, Brian. Fucking tell Marcus to change the fucking play, you moron.
David, if you're listening, it's great coaching. It's great coaching.
I'm sorry. That's great coaching.
Mr. Tepper, it's great coaching.
I'm sorry. That's great coaching. That's great coaching. Number two, I think it's plainly and clearly obvious, and I could have swore I heard somebody say this, but I think they're telling Jalen Hurts to play it safe.
I mean, they probably
to avoid
are.
getting hurt. I truly, because you can't go from the great ankle-breaking plays that we've saw over the past 2 seasons with Hurts to now looking like he shouldn't even be running with the football at all.
But that brings up an interesting question of if they are telling Jalen to play it safe, why the fuck is every other play a quarterback draw?
Yeah, no.
Every other play. You could be like, oh, make sure you get down, make sure you get out of bounds, but you know what the safest way to keep your quarterback safe is? Let him throw and get the ball out of his goddamn hands, not run the ball.
Yeah.
So, Ty, you very well may be right. They probably are telling him to be safe. But at the same time, that's like giving someone a gun and being like, be safe with this thing.
Yeah.
Well, just don't give me the gun, period.
Yeah.
I don't need this.
It's like giving a child a gun.
Right. Yes, exactly. It's like giving a child a gun and
being
being
if you gave me a gun,
right.
I'm not Frank Reynolds.
But you can't be like, hey, Jalen,
I just start bashing.
You're going to have 20 fucking quarterback draws in this game, but, be safe out there. come
Yeah,
on,
that's why
man.
that's why that would make it even weirder if they told him like, be safe, and they end up calling all these plays.
There's no creativity with this offense, man. Every other play is a screen or a quarterback draw.
Goes back to the CMC thing where he knew exactly what was going to happen based on where I think it was Dallas Goedert was lined up.
And that's another thing with Nick. They say Brian Johnson's apparently running Nick's offense. Well, guess what? That just means Nick. Yes, Brian's calling the plays, but if he's working within Nick's scheme, that just means Nick's scheme sucks.
Yeah, which it probably
flat
does.
out.
I mean,
But for me, that kind of fuels my belief that Nick needs to go because even if you bring another offensive coordinator, we're still going to
run your scheme
under Nick Sirianni's
exactly.
scheme, not that offensive coordinator.
And you're going to have the same issues.
I don't understand why people are acting also like we haven't seen this before in our last coach. Our last coach had a great offense the year that he had a great coordinator. And then when that coordinator left, the offense significantly took a step back until he was fired. We are witnessing the same exact thing.
Except without a
Shane
Super Bowl.
Steichen, listen, I get that there's a lot of people at this point now being like, oh, everyone's overblowing how good Shane Steichen is. That play at the end of that Colts game to make the playoffs. Yeah, that was a mistake, but that doesn't negate the great season he got at a fucking Gardner Minshew and a very depleted roster compared to what Nick's working with, which is on paper one of the best rosters in the whole NFL, if not the most talented.
So annoying.
So yes, Shane Steichen, not like a genius, but clearly a very good offensive mind. A very competent, good offensive mind. He leaves and the offense is taking a clear step back. We've seen this exact thing play out before. I don't know why people are acting like everyone's being unfair. Man, Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. Was fired, 3 years later?
Yeah, 3 years.
I forget how many seasons. So what? Nick Sirianni would make one less season than Doug Peterson survived, I believe. So, I'm fine with that at this point. Again, if he wins, but I don't know, man. Let's just talk about this Bucs game real quick.
I don't think they're going to beat the Bucs.
I don't think they're going to beat the Bucs either. And I get that anything. So this is what I'm going to get off.
Even though Herb in the Northeast does think that that's going to happen.
I'm starting to get a real thorn in my side about this with Eagles.
Religious analogy.
Yes, exactly. With Eagles Twitter.
I like
because there's a lot of fucking virtue signaling, gaslighting.
By the way, it's the most toxic it's been ever.
Yes. You have all these fucking people that shit on people like me and you that are where they're
just get shit on, dude.
But they're they're tweeting things like, oh, imagine not thinking the birds have a chance or this and that.
Yeah.
It's where are you
What have
guys,
they shown us?
Where are you getting the confidence from to believe in this team?
Yeah.
I don't know where the confidence is from because the last time I checked, for the last maybe more than calendar month, they've looked horrible.
Yeah, well, our buddy in the alley, has called me out again because I'll keep tweeting oh yeah, Nick Sirianni has to go, and he'll respond based on what?
Stop it.
We were in the Super Bowl. Where are your sources? I was like, brother, it's an opinion.
I don't get what
Nick Sirianni has to go. What do you mean? Dude, yeah, we were in the Super Bowl. Okay. Oh, by the way, we lost.
Yeah.
And have you watched this season? Isn't this the season that matters?
Unless you plan on fully overturning the whole team, the team quit on him. I'm pretty sure that will translate in the next year as well.
You can't overturn the entire roster.
I just want to know where all these people are getting this confidence from to be oh, you're all cowards and the Eagles have a better team. Yeah, you know who else the Eagles have a better team than? The Cardinals and the Giants.
Giants.
Both of which kicked our fucking asses.
Yep.
So excuse me that I can't find the confidence within myself to say the Eagles will win. Now, with that being said, this might be the most neutral fucking stupid take ever, but could the Eagles win this game? 100%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, they should.
They could win this game. There's no doubt about that. But there's no reason for me to sit here with any sort of confidence and say they will.
They haven't earned it.
No.
They haven't earned our confidence.
You know how I always used to say with the Sixers, I'm in the show me state? That's where I am with the Eagles right now. I'll see. If
this
you
applies
guys,
perfectly.
If you win, you win. But at the same time, dude,
But you mentioned gatekeeping. I just hate the fact that when you or I tweet an opinion oh well, I don't know if the Eagles are going to win. I hope the Eagles are going to win, but I don't expect them to win. If we tweeted something like that, we would get attacked.
Yeah.
And called names.
Everyone's which
is crazy because the onus is on them.
Right.
The onus is on them.
Everyone's
Why
this is going to be the week.
Confidence?
This is going to be the week they flip the switch. It's
Yeah.
guys, if they were capable of flipping a switch, you'd think one out of the last 5 weeks would have brought them to the point where they'd be like, maybe it's time.
Exactly.
That's why that Dallas Goedert quote is bullshit.
Yeah, no,
exactly.
I agree.
They're not. This team is not capable of flipping a switch, man. Look, what again?
But wasn't that like the theme, real quick, of like the entire season so far? Even like throughout the course of the season when they were winning games, is every week you would hear from every player, from Sirianni, from Jalen's robotic ass, you would hear everything like, oh yeah, we just need to put it all together. Like, yeah, we played a pretty bad game and we ended up with the win. We just have to put it all together. And now we're at the point where they never put it all together. In fact, they've regressed, and they're using the same talking points about the playoffs, meaning they're like, oh, yeah, we're ready to flip a switch pretty much.
The regular season has ended.
But it's been excuse after excuse of empty promises the entire season.
The regular season's over now, and the Philadelphia Eagles did not put one game together of 4 good quarters of football. Not one single game. Even the ones they won.
People say, against Tua, that game, the Dolphins.
That was their best game. It was undeniably their best game, and it makes you wonder, what the fuck happened to this defense? Because they were able to shut down that. It looks like a
completely different team.
It literally does.
Which is crazy.
But like, to go back to the whole flipping of the switch thing, I mean, let's pull back to that AJ quote again. We just got to start believing in the coaching. Do you really think that I'm supposed to be convinced that in 1 week the Eagles are finally going to, like, you know what, that cliche where they're going to be like, come on, guys, coach is right.
Right.
Like, you think that that's going to happen? Like, legitimately, does anyone believe that? So what AJ Brown is saying in that quote is that they don't believe in the coaching. He's saying that.
Yeah, he's saying
flatly.
that because they need to start believing in the coaching.
This is not conjecture. They don't believe in the coaching, and I'm supposed to believe that in 1 week they're all going to turn around.
They're going to have Dr. Phil come in.
Like, come on, man! Like,
can you imagine that? AJ Brown just calls Dr. Phil. Because they're friends in my alternate universe. And he just comes over. He's like, you guys got to put it all together.
Bring the entire Philadelphia Eagles roster on to Dr. Phil to talk to.
And Jordan Mailata's singing like the theme song to the Dr. Phil show. There and after, there and after, there. And Dr. Phil's just there. So you guys got to put it all together. Yeah, that's not happening.
Like,
I want everybody on Maury because I want I want some scrapping.
Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true.
R.I.P. Jerry.
They deserve Maury. And the ghost of Jerry.
But like, oh, fuck, hold on.
I'm sorry.
I just had a. Oh wait. I could be proven wrong with this, obviously, because they could win. They could come out and kick.
They should win, by the way.
But like, does this not just very much reek of a team who just wants the season to be over? Like, they just want it to end.
But that brings me back to this conspiracy theory, right? Like that you saw floated on. I don't know if it was like they actually believed it or they were just saying this is how it looks. That like even the starters in the first half of that game looked like they just gave up the season from the jump. Like, was there a collective effort? Do you think that's likely at all in the locker room to say, you know what, we're done with this season. It's over.
I literally just think the vibes,
like as a sign to like the front office, maybe
the vibes are bad, seemingly between.
But didn't they look like they didn't even want to be there?
So I think it's a combination of the vibes being horrible, people clearly not getting along, maybe with the whole, we don't have to be friends comment. They don't believe in coaching. Like, I just think there's a serious lack of motivation because I don't think they believe in the team.
It looks like they don't.
I'm full. Like they very much look to me like a team that just wants the season to end at this point. And like I can't again going back to why I can't be convinced they're going to beat the Bucs because like I don't know how you bounce back after everything in the last 3 weeks that they've been saying, that they've been showing. Like,
I would honestly be surprised if they won.
It would be, honestly, I'm just going to say this, it would be very impressive if they were actually able to bounce back from the last 3 weeks. Because, like, it's not just on the field, like, mentally. Like, because, again, none of them are it's not meshing. We always use the 2017 Eagles as like the barometer for good vibes. This is the opposite.
It's the opposite.
And
by the way, I talked about
2017 Eagles.
I talked about it last week. Poor Brandon Graham. He's way too nice of a guy. But it's like even he's getting on my nerves because his whole thing is, oh yeah, the vibes in this locker room are the same as they've always been. And it's like, dude, the vibes are clearly not the same as they were when you won a fucking Super Bowl. Like that team was like so tight,
dude. Like that whole year, you got guys doing coordinated dances together and shit. You don't see any of that.
Yeah, nothing.
Even when they do score, it's just no one. Here's the flattest point: none of them look like they're having a single bit of fun.
No, and you mentioned last season Jalen celebrating more when he was scoring.
Jalen was hitting gritties, and doing like obviously he was still stoic.
He was flexing a little bit though,
but this year just.
This year,
it's nothing.
nothing.
There's been a couple of times with Jalen Hurts, especially like I think the last one was in this Giants game. I think on a tush push where the linebacker jumped over the line of scrimmage and attacked Jalen, and
Nobody
Jalen Hurts has been
defended
getting
him.
cheap shot a couple of times. I'm sorry. I'm fucking somebody up if you hit my quarterback.
That's how it's supposed to be.
You know what Hugh Douglas said today?
Pissed when nobody. I'm like, yo, is nobody on a fucking attack?
You think if Jason Peters is out there, he's letting that shit slide?
Hell no.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. It was Ike Reese today in the afternoon. He said, well, because a caller brought it up. They're like, why wasn't anyone like defending Jalen there after getting like messed with like all game? And he was like, "Oh yeah, it wasn't really the time replays or the game."
I don't think it has anything to do
it
with,
wasn't the game.
I don't
for
think
it. It's about like protecting your quarterback.
I don't think that has anything to do with Jalen. I think that there's just a defeated feeling and morale is so low.
Yeah,
they can't be bothered.
Maybe they're just going through the motions.
That's exactly what I think they're doing.
They're like all Pat Burrells out there in left field.
It's just such a stark difference
But
from where we
Jason
started.
really looked like he was going to like cry.
Well,
Jason looked like he was
because you brought up
He
BG.
came
You're bringing up
Yeah.
Jason now. Like it really does suck that like this is
How
most
he's going
likely
out.
how they're going out.
And
Fletch, BG.
I think they actually
Jason
might bring
Kelce.
Fletcher back. Maybe.
I wouldn't be surprised about anything. But I'm
Maybe.
just saying
I
like
think Fletch still has one more year. Let me check.
Oh, you might be right.
the fact that at least for Jason Kelce, if he still plans on retiring, like it sucks to see this like going
no,
the
it
way
sucks.
it's going.
I mean,
like,
especially dude, that last game at the Link. That's how you're going to go out.
a terrible
Really?
loss to the Cardinals.
That's how this great era of Eagles football. Like for those guys, I'm saying, that's how those guys are going to go out. I mean, these guys have done so much for the city, for the organization. They've met so much. They're all Eagles Hall of Famers, and they might all go in together.
Jason Kelce's
honestly,
a first ballot Hall of Famer. Period.
No, period. Yeah, but I'm saying like we're gonna be at the Link one day, and they're gonna be honored, probably all together, which would be cool as shit. And this is the way your final game at the Link.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, that sucks.
And very likely their final game in an Eagles uniform is going to be a playoff loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Be a home playoff game, even if a miracle happens, right?
I don't think they can host the game.
Yeah, no.
I don't think though. No.
Nah, it sucks.
But like everyone, another thing with the Bucs is everyone like, oh, I'm supposed to be scared of Baker Mayfield. Like, guys, we just lost to Tyrod Taylor.
Right.
I said earlier in the podcast, Tyrod Taylor was picking us apart like pretty with precision.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, yeah, Baker Mayfield's actually had a pretty good year. Like,
no, yeah, he actually has.
He bounced back nicely. Like, dude, like, am I supposed to believe that Mike Evans isn't gonna have like 5,000 yards against us?
Dude, he's probably licking his chops.
Exactly.
Looking at our secondary.
Even their running backs, Rashad White has had a nice year. Look at what James Conner just did to this team 2 weeks ago.
That's crazy.
I don't see an area where like. This is exactly how I see this game going. It depends on who gets the ball first, but in my head scenario, let's just say the Bucs get the ball first. The Bucs are going to get the ball first, bully us down the field, score a touchdown. The Eagles will come out, put together a very uncreative, uninspiring drive of two quarterback draws and a screen, go 3 and out, and that right there will be it. That will be the game right then and there.
You're probably right. How do you think what's his name's preparing? What's the defensive Todd Bowles?
Oh, hold on. Bring up the Tampa Bay coaching, by the way.
Who picked us apart in the playoffs before.
That's another thing we got to talk about real quick with this Giants game, and it's just showing another glaring hole with this team. They can't do shit against the blitz. Oh, my God, the blitz. I think Jalen Hurts has thrown 8 interceptions this year against the blitz or some crazy number like that.
They're horrible against the blitz. Even Dallas Goedert came out, or somebody came out and said we were horrendous against the blitz.
It's bad. Like very bad. And the Bucs, they blitz the second most in the league or some shit like that.
They're probably feeling pretty damn good about this game, to be honest with you.
Absolutely.
Like, even if you're a Tampa Bay fan.
Dude, I mean, if the Bucs are smart, just blitz every fucking play.
That's what they probably will do.
Yeah, they're gonna blitz,
and they are smart.
They're gonna blitz a lot. I don't know how the Eagles weren't prepared for it last week. If they're not prepared for it this week, then there really is just nothing you can do for these coaches because it's clear as day what's going to happen.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? Because last year, even the Super Bowl year, they struggled against the blitz frustratingly.
Oh, they did.
And that was one of the best offenses that we've seen in a very long time here. The fact that Nick Sirianni has been here for 3 years and you still have yet to figure out what the fuck to do again. It's not that freaking hard to figure it out how to beat a damn blitz. It's really not that damn hard. You throw where the blitz is coming from. All right, you go there was times last year they made plays where they had Jalen Hurts run opposite to the blitz and have somebody wide open on the corner at the corner. Like it's not that freaking hard.
Where is that, by the way?
Where are the
in Indianapolis. That's where it is.
Unfortunately.
Where are the curl routes? Where are the slant routes?
I think they're in Indy.
Where is throwing the ball in the flat? Why is every fucking play, unironically, a quarterback draw, a wide receiver screen, or 4 verticals?
But think about this. Do you think Jeffrey Lurie, like I keep going back to the owner, but do you think he like doesn't see what we're seeing too? Like there's no way heads will not roll even if they win in Tampa Bay.
I already know the coordinators are gone.
The coordinators are gone. But I mean, at the same time, dude, like because the Eagles were so known this year, as we mentioned earlier, for uninspiring wins.
Yeah.
I mean, if there probably will be, in all likelihood, an uninspiring Eagles win if they do win.
Yeah.
I don't think they have a route in them.
It worries me because.
But what if it's one of those uninspiring wins where the play calling was again horrendous?
Yeah.
And if they just look like shit, but etched out, a like a 9-0 win like the Bucs did to Carolina. Like, what if that happens? Because Jake Elliott has been the best fucking player on this team all year.
I know that everyone's
anyway.
say to me like, anything can happen, but like, dude, even if we beat the Bucs, like, what do I get to look forward?
But that's
to
my question:
do I get to look forward to an ass kicking from the Cowboys or the 49ers?
That's my
or
question.
whoever?
Like, if you're on the Nick Sirianni needs to be fired page, no matter what happens in Tampa Bay, then you kind of want them to lose this game because I think there's an outside shot that, and I don't know how outside the shot is actually, to be honest with you, but like. There's a chance that Nick Sirianni is back as head coach if they win against Tampa Bay, and let's say they get beat in the second round, but it was a close game and they showed some fight.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been hearing some things, and one of the scenarios I said the only way Nick Sirianni gets fired, I said this offense and this entire team has to have a total collapse. We've seen that. I said they have to lose these stupid ass games that they should be winning down the stretch. We've lost those,
and we've seen that.
And the one more nail in the coffin: if they lose against the Bucs, I'm telling you, I'm not gonna be surprised. And you know what? With the amount of head coaching candidates that are out there in free agency.
That just dropped today, too.
That just dropped today. Listen, we can find a better head coach.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. And I gotta ask both of you guys this
Bill
question.
Belichick, come on down.
What is? This is a serious question. It's gonna come off like a joke. What is stopping the Eagles? Like, what is the reason why they should not hand back the reins of the defense to Sean Desai? Like, other than like, I guess they would have like egg on their face, and maybe he would have a little resentment for what happened, but. You have nothing to lose.
You know what?
Give him the defense back.
You know what I heard somebody mention? I think it was on Twitter. They're like, "Oh no, just make him the quarterbacks coach, and then Desai, and like this WIP
the
call.
Quarterbacks coach.
Yeah, make him the quarterbacks coach." I was like, dude, what are we doing here?
Defensive coordinator to quarterbacks coach is a straight and narrow line.
Somebody on WIP,
that
one of the callers
on
that.
Steal.
Yo, somebody, I was like, dude, people are losing their minds. The only solution to this is firing him.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen.
Should the Eagles not give Desai the defense back for the playoffs? Like
for the playoffs, they're not going to do it because it's going to make them look horrible.
But like,
I mean, they're not going to do it.
I agree, but like that is an asinine reason to not do it because the defense has gotten. The defense has gotten so much worse under Patricia. You can't even fathom how much worse it is.
But dude, I don't think it's Matt Patricia's fault. Like, I think the defense is trash. I'm not saying Matt Patricia's great.
The personnel did not change. The personnel has been the personnel all year, and don't get me wrong, I know that.
But they've gone from bad to worse. Right. But they were always bad.
I agree with that, but they have become again under Desai. They were a below average, inconsistent defense to now they are the worst in the whole league.
Right.
Like, I get you'll have egg on your face and everything, and he's probably fired anyway next year, but like, you gotta give it one Hail Mary, be like, here you go, take the defense back, maybe it'll help.
Yeah, that might be the right thing to do,
nothing to lose.
But it's not going to happen.
Oh no, I don't believe it'll happen either.
To answer your question, pride. That's the reason why they're not going to fucking do it. Because like y'all been saying, they're going to have egg on their face if they turn around and say, yeah, here you go, Sean. Exactly. Here's the fucking play calling on the defense back. That's not fucking
Because
happening.
they decided to make one of the dumbest, most unprecedented moves like I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it left them in a position where you could not fire anybody because, again, they don't want to have egg on their face, so they can't fire Patricia and give the defense back to Desai. And like, I guess like for some reason they just don't. I don't know why the fuck wouldn't Brian Johnson get fired? Don't know, but it's not happening. Obviously.
You have to think he's gone.
Oh, definitely.
I would have fired him mid-season.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Obviously, he's gone. He's either somehow.
Here's the thing.
He's going to get a fucking head coaching job. God bless whatever team does hire him.
You said you wanted him gone mid-season. I think a lot of fans wanted him gone mid-season.
It was very apparent very quick.
Yeah, but guess what?
He was.
Guess what everyone said? Oh, well, I mean, they don't want to make a panic move. Well, if that was the case, would they have done the Desai thing?
The Sean Desai move is
How is that
arguably,
not the definition of a panic move?
That's the biggest panic move I've seen by any NFL team in years.
So I think it's bullshit that they were afraid of giving those vibes out. I think they wanted to go out and win a Super Bowl this year. Like at the beginning of the year, I think they wanted to, organizationally
Absolutely.
speaking. So like I think they would have had permission or even pressure to fire him mid-season.
Tepper, just remember, we wanted to get rid of Brian Johnson because we wanted him to explore better options.
Yeah,
it wasn't because
we felt like we were holding him back as a coordinator when he deserves to be a head coach. That's what it is, Mr. Tepper, please.
That's what it is.
Keep that in mind, please. I don't know, man. To put a wrap on this fucking Eagles thing, because I want to talk about like some of the coaches that are available now.
Yeah.
Just none of us. I think we're all on the same page here.
Joe Pa's available.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, he was not one of them?
Yeah, he's coming straight up from hell to coach the team. Neither of us believe the Bucs are gonna or the Eagles are gonna beat the Bucs.
No,
like it's just,
I think they should, however. Obviously.
Looking at it on paper,
yeah,
you would be like,
it's strictly on paper.
Looked at both, if you had not watched a single game this season, but you had football knowledge, but
right?
For some reason you didn't watch a single game this year, and you laid out both rosters, you would be like, the Eagles would win this game by 100,
like
100.
Not even
but
close.
like the matter of the fact is, these guys, they're zombies on the field.
Just look at the two quarterbacks' names alone.
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
So I have no faith that they're gonna suddenly start believing. Sorry, AJ, I don't believe that they're gonna start believing in the coaching week 19 of the season.
I think what's most sad about this season was that I remember playing against the Buccaneers this season, and I remember that game, and I remember the offense, and I was like, that's their fucking identity right there.
Yeah.
That's what they did last year.
Yep.
Bully ball, play action, Jalen Hurts throwing over the top. That's their identity. Yep. For the life of me, do not understand why you wanted to change your identity from what was working last year as the biggest bully in the NFL to now you want to be like everybody else, throwing the football down the field.
Disaster.
You don't have to do that.
That's why, you know what pisses me off? Like, I'll see, like, Eagles, like, I call them Eagles bootlickers because there's a lot of the Phillies ones. We'll get into that later. But these
Twitter.
Eagles bootlickers are arguably worse. Like, they're like, trolling, like, Tampa Bay fans right now. And they're like, oh, yeah, like, you guys have no shot. And they'll show, like, a screenshot from, what was it, a 24 to something win that we beat them in the first time?
Yeah, something
like that. Whatever. They'll show that score when we beat them. And it's like, my brother in Christ, this is a completely different team. This is not the same team.
I honestly...
Why are you trolling Tampa? They should be excited.
I honestly envy the misplaced confidence some people have, because I wore an Eagles hoodie to the gym the other day and I was like embarrassed to wear it. I was like, fuck, dude. I'm wearing this
I haven't worn any
hoodie.
Eagles gear in a while. I have Flyers. Fuck you, Cutter Guthier, whatever the hell your name is. Fuck you. And I got my Phillies, Red October, baby. Here we go.
That's just misplaced confidence, dude. The Bucs are, like you said, they're licking their chops for this game.
I mean, and they should be.
Yeah.
I mean, they should be. And by the way, you are
they're playing against a football team that has one foot out the door.
But dude, you're in no position as a fan base to be like taunting your opponent's fans for being excited. I mean, you're in zero position. You should be embarrassed. No. It should be like the brown bag over their head thing.
Exactly. And
by the way, that's how you and I feel. You just said you felt like a piece of garbage for wearing the Eagles hoodie to the gym.
Literally.
And it's like, dude, like they haven't earned anything.
And I've never felt like that. This is the lowest I've been with the Eagles, like ever. Even
so, the fan base needs to get a little more smart and like kind of know what's going on.
But as far as around the league with other coaches that are available, in case of Nick Sirianni getting fired,
Fingers crossed.
Pete Carroll was fired by the Seahawks today. Mike Vrabel was fired by the Titans.
I know you have your eyes on. You have your eyes on Vrabel.
Okay, so obviously it depends whether Nick is fired or not, because I believe that Mike Vrabel is going to get a head coaching job, as he should.
He might be the first one.
I think in my mind, I'm seeing Mike Vrabel is probably going to be the next head coach of the New England Patriots when Belichick leaves.
I could see
probably that. Homecoming, he played there.
I could see it.
That would be a good fit. Turn the team around. I also think he didn't deserve to be fired. I mean, he made good of a horrible situation in Tennessee, a bad roster. He made the best of Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback for many years. They still don't have a quarterback over there. I mean,
and their quarterback was hurt. I mean,
so I think Mike Vrabel's firing was stupid.
Yeah,
but
it
hey,
was
whatever.
dumb.
He's gonna get a head coaching job. If Nick did come back, I would just throw a head coach salary at him to be your defensive coordinator, even though he's not going to take that. He's going to take a head coaching job. So that's kind of a pipe dream, but hopefully Nick gets fired and we can think about it.
That would be ideal.
Pete Carroll, I'm a little bit less on, but I mean, I don't really know.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, I don't really know what to think
He bought
of
football to an entire city.
And I know that your whole shtick on Twitter the last week and a half or week has been the Bill
It's not a
Belichick.
shtick. I want him.
I don't think I do.
I mean, he's arguably the greatest coach of all time.
I'm gonna be honest. If we fired Nick Sirianni, let's fast forward. We lose to the Bucs, and whatever. We lose 21-13 or some shit like that.
I could see that.
Nick Sirianni gets fired. My first who I would want, honestly, I think, is I would want Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Lions.
Yeah,
he's
a very underrated name.
I'm more
and the Eagles actually had interest in him before.
Yeah. I'm more in the camp of wanting, not that he's young in age, but you get young in experience. I'm more in the camp of wanting a young guy who's getting his first opportunity, kind of like Nick Sirianni was, someone that comes in.
Do you want to go back there again? See, I'm on a different page.
I
want
want
a veteran
established
guy. I want a veteran, established guy.
I don't mind that.
That doesn't take any bullshit. That will actually push these guys.
Now you might be right.
Play that Javon Hargrave clip again. Push them.
I was
dude. You know what I mean? Don't fucking have a coach that doesn't get the most out of these guys.
I was listening to a podcast earlier. I'm pretty sure it was Pardon My Take, the Barstool Pod, and they have an Eagles fan on there, and he said something about not wanting Belichick because he'll make it not fun. But brother, who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
I want to win.
I don't want it to be
That's
fun.
why I always hated, and this is not me rewriting
it's
history.
Gabe Kapler, dude.
Hold on. This is not me rewriting history here. I always hated Lane Johnson's comment that he made after the Super Bowl where he said something about the Patriots and how they don't have fun or something like that. Well, dude, they won 7 championships. If you have to sacrifice fun for being the winningest franchise in NFL history, but I'll take it, man.
But that's why I want a more veteran guy.
At the end of the day, guess what? It's your fucking job.
Yeah.
Do I go I work for the fucking post office. Do I go in every day? I'm you know what, man? You guys just aren't cultivating an environment of me having fun.
Yeah, well,
no, I got to do my job.
Yeah.
That's what it is at the end of the day. So, I'm honestly kind of doing a 180 here. I'm not saying I necessarily want Belichick, but I get where
I think you want Belichick.
I get where you're coming from.
I can get you onto my side.
I
man.
get where you're coming from with wanting someone with more experience. I do get that.
But like you said, I think you kind of realized it too. You came to the realization.
I'm gonna just realize it right now.
Nick Sirianni. That was the same idea we had.
Yeah.
But it's I know the guy. What the hell's his name?
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson. I know that
he's actually
very
a
talented.
good offensive mind.
He's gotten a lot out of that offense over there.
Yeah.
And it's dude, I get that as well. But I don't think ownership. I don't think Jeffrey Lurie really wants to repeat what he just did in Sirianni. I think he wants a veteran guy. I think Bill Belichick would be absolutely perfect for this team. I mean, he's a defensive genius, first of all. He doesn't take any shit. These guys seem like prima donnas, dude.
Let me ask
a lot
you,
of the time.
I got the perfect guy that satisfies both worlds. I got a guy for you that gets their first head coaching position.
Okay.
First opportunity. And I got a guy that brings, and I agree with you. I agree with you mostly.
I know where you're
I
going.
want the veteran fucking experience.
I know where
But
you're
I got
going.
the perfect guy that satisfies both worlds. And goddamn it, that's my candidate if I can't get Jim.
Oh, yeah.
I want fucking Eric Bieniemy.
Ooh.
There was a quote.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go Nick Saban on
Nope.
Well, Nick Saban's
No,
coached
he's
the
old.
NFL before.
He's old as fuck.
No, I know.
Exactly. I don't want
He's
no
going to
Nick Saban.
retire.
And he was horrible.
There's
There
no
was-
reason for him to mess with his legacy.
There was a quote that a Washington player said, I think,
love
this
Bieniemy.
year, and they were just oh, yeah, he coaches too hard. Basically, they say
Yeah, they were
he's a
complaining.
hard ass, and then
Yeah.
he coaches too hard. Fuck it. I want that. I have a shit ton of young, talented
Yeah.
guys on my roster. I don't need a young guy to be relatable to them. I need an older guy to kick their asses.
Yeah, exactly.
So is Bieniemy back in Washington, or
He's still their coordinator.
He's
still their
technically still their coordinator.
but
I don't
if
know
he
what
gets
they're gonna
offered
do.
a head coaching job, he's going to leave.
Oh, he's
obviously.
going.
But
Yeah.
my thing is with Bieniemy, and
Do you think
I
Washington
agree with
would-
you. Why? Where has has the opportunity just not been there for him to be a head coach? Because
opportunity's been there.
I've been thinking for years that guy deserves. I mean, he was the offensive coordinator of the Chiefs when they were like the most firepower offense in the whole NFL.
Yeah, it
like,
makes
of all
no
time.
sense. And by the way, I wanted him before they hired Sirianni.
Listen, I would gladly take Bieniemy, but I want to ask you guys right now, both of you. There are 7 head coaching jobs in the NFL. Let's we're assuming here. Let's assume the Eagles fire Nick Sirianni, so that would make it 8.
Fingers crossed.
Let's assume no one hires a coach until the offseason. So we're entering this 8 with every coach that's available still out there.
Okay.
Where do the Eagles rank amongst desirable jobs in this list? So you have the Seahawks, the Commanders, the Chargers, the Raiders, the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Titans. Where do the Eagles rank amongst desirability in the job? Because I do think it's worth asking the question that do some coaches, because like me, we all agree on this, but I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Would a coach look at the Eagles and be like, man, Sirianni went to the Super Bowl last year and they fired him after one bad year. Do I really want to go there?
There's that, and also Doug Peterson. People remember what happened to him too.
So I personally think in that camp, even with the Eagles, I think the Chargers might be the most appealing job.
Maybe the most appealing job. But if you're talking about like on paper talent, like holy shit, I have a lot to work with here. Philadelphia's number 1.
Yeah,
I think.
I think that we are probably like number 2. Because I think
overall,
I think the Chargers do.
Why?
I think the Chargers have a lot of talent. They obviously, you have to consider
more on paper talent than the Eagles, though. Like
probably not.
I mean, Jalen Hurts has been an MVP candidate.
I'm sure the coaches are going to consider what I just said about the firing thing.
Sure, that definitely.
And living in Los Angeles is also
that's a huge advantage, and that matters.
And the Chargers have like out of all these other teams that I named, the Seahawks, the Commanders, the Raiders, the Panthers, the Falcons, the Titans, not counting the Eagles.
I don't think anyone wants to go to the Panthers.
None of those teams have an established quarterback besides the Chargers there. And the Eagles do too, but people would probably look at that job and be like, well, Bryce. Well, I mean, like someone could mold. I'm not out on Bryce Young or anything. And the Panthers
I understand what you're saying though.
But I do think the Eagles probably rank 2nd amongst the most desirable jobs there. I do think it's worth mentioning if coaches will be scared off by the job security.
I think it's a fair point. I think it's a fair point.
It's going to be interesting if they do fire Sirianni to see where they land in this coaching carousel and all that crap. I mean, who would have thought?
Maybe they'll give Matt Patricia another chance at a head coaching job.
Who the fuck would have thought we'd be sitting here? Flashback 7 weeks. Who would have thought we'd be sitting here talking about Nick Sirianni?
I thought we'd be getting ready for the Super Bowl.
You would have thought that, Ty?
Honestly, because the writing was on the wall. This team just looked off and different. Even when I was getting, come on, Tyre. And then I interacted with Eagles fans on Twitter too. God, I hate that.
No, it's horrible.
So I'm interacting with Eagles fans. They're like, man, you just need to celebrate that we're 10-1. We're 10-1. We're the top team in the NFC. And I'm like, do we look like the top team in the NFC?
Absolutely not.
We should be the top team in the NFC. That's my fucking expectation. We don't look like the top team in the NFC.
We have a lower point differential than the Bucs.
And I said to everybody, I said, you better hope and pray to God that we don't start looking like the team that we should be looking like. Yeah. And sure enough, look at where we're at now.
Yep. Quez Watkins saved this team from being a negative point differential.
That's frightening.
He didn't score
That's horrifying.
Also, by the way, real quick, Quez Watkins.
Say it, because I know where you're going.
Fuck.
Say it.
You're getting, frankly, you're getting embarrassed in front of the country by the Giants. You're getting embarrassed, and you score a touchdown, and you taunt the crowd.
That's a bad look.
Are you fucking joking?
He got that from his head coach, man.
That is absolutely the craziest fucking thing
That's insane.
I could not believe my eyes.
I know.
And like I get it. Guys want their own personal stats because it helps them get contracts and everything, but like
you know what'd be
read
funny?
The fucking room.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was a bunch of Eagles fans barking at him?
Dude, it could
like, hey, Quez, you suck. You know what I mean? You still suck, buddy. And he's like telling them to be quiet.
So embarrassing.
It's a really bad look. I mean, like these are guys that just don't have any self-awareness.
No, that's
doesn't that stem back to the goddamn culture and the goddamn head coach?
Exactly.
I don't know.
You want to make matters worse on that?
Sure.
Go for it.
Might as well.
He freaking put the catch on Instagram. And taunted like he was the shit.
Are you serious?
Oh, I'm dead ass. I wish I could show y'all a picture.
Oh my god! Well, I can't wait till he's off this team. There's no way he's back.
That's one of the biggest mistakes is they didn't get a legit wide receiver 3. But
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, we're running a little bit out of time, so I want to move on real quick from the Eagles. Just there were a couple just other things. National championship game. Did you watch any of that, Seamus?
I did, and I fell asleep.
I am excited that this is the end of the 4-team era. I'm ready for the 12-team. I'm excited because I frankly think that this college football playoff would have been a lot different if Georgia didn't slip and lose to Alabama. You know, that if.
Alabama shouldn't have been the number 4 seed anyway.
Yeah.
That was bullshit.
Yeah.
So I think it could have been all different if Georgia played. Michigan, you know, cool. I don't really have it. I don't feel one way or the other about.
Yeah, me either.
I don't have a favorite team. So
Not
like,
a big college football guy.
I do love Michael Penix, so I was rooting for Washington.
Well, he looked horrible.
I did bet on Michigan though, so like that was. I mean, I still.
How many picks did he throw, by the way?
2 I think 2.
Yeah.
One of them got tipped. Whatever. It was still like he played like shit.
Yeah.
I'm excited for next season though, because the 12-team playoff will make the
and Nick
NCAA a
Saban's
lot
gone
more fun
and everything. Yeah.
Dude, that's crazy. Like I'm actually like kind of like
it's a big day, dude.
I'm excited to see
Pete Carroll gone. Nick Saban gone, and Chris Christie suspends his presidential campaign.
Fuck!
Wow,
Dude, he had it, too.
Dude, everything comes in threes, man.
Dude, speaking of which, ESPN last night, I was watching ESPN. I think it might have been ESPN 2. It was, dude, every other commercial was either Nikki Haley or Ron DeSantis. I was like, what is happening right now?
Well, they're starting to pump money into the advertisements now.
It's kind of funny.
Boy, oh boy, you might be looking at President Nikki Haley and Vice President Donald Trump.
Yeah,
How about
right.
that? No, I'm joking.
But I am excited for next year because I like the fact that like one game won't like eliminate it, or one loss won't eliminate you from the playoff. I always thought that was kind of stupid.
Yeah.
And also there's like all they care about is money, and there's more money to be made in having 12 teams. It's
Very true.
more
No, I
playoff
think
games.
It's a net positive.
I mean, look at it like this. You had the number 5 and the number 6 played in a bowl game, Georgia versus FSU. Both teams had like an overwhelming majority of their best players sat out of the game because it means nothing.
It means nothing.
So, but like next year, that very same game would be a playoff game.
Exactly.
And all the players would play in it.
Gives more incentive
exactly.
to compete. Yeah.
So college football should be very fun next year.
And that might draw in some more fans too, like casuals like myself.
Other unrelated things. Did we talk about Aaron Rodgers last week?
Yeah, we did.
That just it's kind of absurd. Like it's kind of absurd that Pat McAfee is just still like putting him on the air.
He stopped apparently.
No, he was on there yesterday. I was watching.
Didn't he say that he was going to stop doing it?
Who knows?
I don't know.
I do think that's like kind of crazy. And then lastly, we didn't really get to talk much Sixers, but it looks like Joel Embiid has been hurt, which is not great.
They have not looked good.
Oh, dude, I'm no longer going to any games this year because I went to one
Are you the
game.
mush this year?
I went to the in-season tournament game against the Pacers that we lost,
boy.
and then me and my girlfriend went to the Knicks game.
Oh, that was one of the worst I've ever seen at home.
Dude,
They got embarrassed.
I've never seen anything like it. It was mostly Knicks fans.
Oh, yeah.
Damn mush.
It was mostly
I am a
Knicks
mush.
fans down there?
Dog. I get that towards the end of the game.
Did you grab a beer at Xfinity before?
No, I did not.
No? That's how I usually read the vibe down there.
I get
fans-wise.
that most of the Sixers fans probably started storming out by the end because of how bad the game was, but dude, throughout the game, the Knicks would hit a 3, the crowd would erupt. There were "Let's go Knicks" chants very loudly.
It's embarrassing.
I was sitting up, from the nosebleeds.
From the nosebleeds.
And I was surrounded by Knicks fans. The people to my legitimately speaking, the people to my left and my right and in front of me, all Knicks fans.
All Knicks fans.
It was
Did you check behind you?
I was up there. But there were only like 2 rows behind me, but there were Knicks fans everywhere.
So you were surrounded.
Dude, they show out. I respect that.
Dude, I mean, it's Julius Randle.
I mean, showing out for a meaningless game like that in January, like that's a good fan base they got. I guess.
By the way, speaking of the Knicks, we're the ones that should have acquired OG. By the way,
Yeah,
and
I
he
wish.
would have helped that team tremendously.
Yeah,
I truly believe that. I've always wanted OG.
It's
got a
gonna
cool
suck
name.
that Joel is probably not gonna play enough games to win MVP because he should.
Listen,
but,
Jokic
like,
is going to get it, rinse and repeat.
that new rule. It's really gonna be interesting to see how players adapt to that because Joel is gonna be the first prime example of he should win MVP and he's probably not going to because he's not going to play enough games.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, he won his MVP last year. Let's win a fucking championship. Be healthy in the playoffs and just prove me wrong.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not expecting anything.
I'm still in on the
vibes
Sixers.
are good. Yeah, I'm
To
still
start
in on
the season,
Sixers.
I was in on the Sixers.
Listen, Joel's hurt right now. I can't expect them to be like
but
the
that
greatest.
Knicks game, like
No, it was
I know
bad.
it's one regular season game, but that annoyed the shit out of me.
Yeah,
It was
listen,
really annoying.
people always like to say, "Oh, it's one game," but one game can show things. You
Sure.
can show cracks. But like you said, I'm not out or anything. I think they're going to be fine. It's going to be an interesting year. The Clippers over there, they look good until the playoffs come around.
Well, one of them's going to,
I really
have a
love
season-ending injury.
last thing before we end it. We have a friend of the program, my friend Colton, who's a Clippers fan.
Yeah, God bless him.
I do love hanging out with him. We're having a couple beers and he's talking about the Clippers and he's like, man,
Great guy.
They're just so good and this and that. And I'm just like smiling. I'm like, you sound just like we all sounded last year, you dumb motherfucker.
You know what I think would be insane?
Colton, if you listen to this, I love you.
I love you too, Colton. By the way, he co-hosted the show one time.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
when we
so
talked, I was right boldly of him to do it right after the Clippers had blown a 3-1 lead to the Denver Nuggets.
That was actually a pretty good show.
But like it is kind of funny to sit there and listen to him talk about James Harden. It's like you realize.
Wouldn't it be awesome though if we had a Clippers Sixers finals?
I would love that.
Oh my god, dude.
Oh my god, imagine a James Harden like meltdown.
Finals MVP.
Lead.
Oh,
no,
okay.
stop it. No, I don't want to imagine that.
Can you imagine that?
Dog, that
James Harden Finals MVP.
There would be
Game 7 is at the Wells Fargo Center, and he just torches us.
There would be such egg
and
on
then
our
B
face.
just like retires. Because his limbs fall off.
Stop. The Eagles are actually...
Oh, look, there's Joel Embiid's arm at half court. How did that happen?
The Eagles are actually bad in real life. I don't need to also imagine this fucking horrible scenario.
Joel Embiid just disintegrated in front of our eyes. How is that possible? How many stitches is it going to take to put his entire body back together?
All right, well, the next time we talk to all you guys, the Eagles will either be on the way to play. Who will they play if they win?
I have no idea.
Is it the Cowboys or the Niners? Or does it depend?
It depends.
Okay, so basically if they win, they're en route to a ass kicking, and if they lose, we're probably going to get cleaning of the house. So no matter what happens, next week's podcast should be an interesting one.
It should be interesting.
Thank you guys for listening. We love you. At least like we can be happy venting to all you guys. Because if not, I'd probably go crazy. So thanks for listening. Go follow us on all our socials and go Birds, I guess.
Fuck Cutter Gauthier.
Yeah, fuck Cutter.
How do you say it?
I think it's Gauthier.
Gauthier.
I don't know.
Fuck you.
Fuck him and fuck his stupid name.
All of a sudden care about you that were born in 2004. Fuck you.
Yeah, fuck him. Fuck his stupid name. Go Sixers and
go Flyers.
I guess go Birds.
Go Flyers. We're getting a cup. Polish off the cup.